You're on Team Human, conscious intervention in the machine, an opportunity to practice the art of peer-to-peer engagement, an altogether human connection that's less about results or transaction than comportment. What we accomplish may be less important than the way we go about it together. I'm Douglas Rushkoff, and I'm on Team Human. Playing for Team Human today, the author of classic books like Your Money or Your Life and Blessing the Hands That Feed Us, as well as the blog Coming of Aging, my great friend and partner in the game of shared humanity, Vicki Robin.
Whoa.
Together, we will seek to embrace this challenging moment by embracing one another. It's time to intervene on behalf of ourselves and all living things. I'm Douglas Rushkoff, and we're all on Team Human. Hey, Vicki.
Hey, Douglas. Yeah, here we are.
Indeed.
In the flesh.
In the flesh.
We've only done podcasts, on computers, on Zoom.
On the non-flesh.
Yeah, I know.
And this, as far as they know, is real life.
It's a simulation. It's as close as it gets.
I guess this whole thing could be a simulation, which would kind of be relieving in a certain way.
We're going to wander into the topic that I'm on these days, which is old age, aging, sickness, and death. Because I'm getting up there in years,
right.
And so you become more universal. You just start to experience your life from before you were born to after you die. You have you become less personalized, and so the question of, is this a simulation? What is this that I have filled 80 years with?
I've been wondering that myself.
I know, but you don't have 80 years. You have
right, but I've been wondering for 60-something,
Totally.
And I've concluded that no one knows what's going on here. That really no one knows. Even, the Krishnamurti and Buddha people, I think that they just got really good at not knowing. Really good at being with that, or as Donna Haraway would say, kind of staying with the trouble.
Right. I think that they punctured the illusion of the separate self in a separate body. That's what they got to.
Right. But you still don't know what's going on in the big sense. So if you separate that and like we were talking before, so you say, your memories are not your own, their memories are not in your head. You're just like an FM radio antenna channeling different things from the great quantum whole, and each incarnation of you is just maybe already happened, and you're just so, and I've played that game, right? That consciousness precedes everything. Mm-hmm. Consciousness preceded matter, and maybe consciousness made matter, which is almost like a simulation of stuff in order to express itself. And I'm good with that, and I feel better about myself and all that with that, better about life and death and that. But then still, I'm upset by the fact that somehow in the gears of this great simulation and stuff, there's so many people and entities just kind of squished and suffering, and that part feels so unnecessary.
Yeah, well, so what is unnecessary, really? Is there, we're both Jewish. Is there necessity to suffering? Is suffering sort of the grit, the sandpaper that, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but the kind of suffering, right, of having an overbearing mom is one kind of suffering.
Right.
Of not knowing whether there's a God, of worrying about are your business dealings ethical. That's suffering of one kind. The suffering of having your hands blown off by a drone, And it just...
I know. I wonder if that's like a bad movie of a sort of a glitch in human programming that in some way one could hope, if we make it through this, that glitch is going to be fixed. Warring, this whole thing of warring on each other, killing one another. Who thought that up? There's this old book by a man named Andrew Schmookler. Do you know who he was? He was a philosopher, and he called it The Parable of the Tribes. And he said, if there are 9 peaceful tribes, they can go about their business. But you get one tribe coming in that's aggressive, and every peaceful tribe has to respond. So they reshape themselves to deal with the aggression, or else they disappear. So it's the aggression that shapes us into this defensive posture.
The other element of what you're talking about is that somehow the 9 peaceful tribes consolidate or work together. They collaborate, cooperate with each other, which if you just think about it as a playground, if there's one bully and all the other kids are,
I know,
it would be different. It's interesting because Mamdani, the guy who just won for mayor in New York, did a really interesting inversion, a rhetorical inversion of something Trump had said, where Trump had said basically, to get any of the Americans, you're going to have to come through me, right? I'm going to protect all of you, and I'm taking the hit. If they're coming for me, then they're coming for you. What Mamdani flipped it when he basically said to the kind of the federal government's armies, if they want to come to New York, he said, if you want to get any of us, you have to come through all of us.
Right, exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it amazing? He's the sort of person that we've prayed for.
Right. Or he's certainly, and I'll just be tentative, he's certainly saying the things we've been praying for someone to say.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like why I love Bernie.
Yeah.
It's like he says the things that need to be said. And it makes me feel more courageous, more affirmed in my saying the things that need to be said. I have a little mini platform. It's low to the ground, and it's shrinking. But I have a platform. How do I use my platform to remind people of our strength and not our better nature, because that assumes that there's a worse nature, but, to remind us all that we have more agency and that this sort of pressure comes at us from it just feels like a pressure wave that's on all of us. And that there is that place of neutralizing it and being the mensch that you are.
And I do understand the red state perspective on all this, which is in many ways a healthy response to a different kind of authoritarianism, to being victims of a corporate-owned, elitist, administrative state, right? That dispossesses them of their own land, that has got them stuck in a cycle of using chemical inputs in their soil in order to keep up with the market. When I talk to kids from the Midwest and even the South Dakota on farms, they're saying, we don't want to use that crap. We want to do low-till agriculture. They're talking about the most almost quasi-permaculture approaches to land management because they want it to last for generations.
Right.
But the pressures of the market, when the soybeans are only going for this many cents per bushel or whatever, they're bushels of soybeans, probably not bags.
Okay,
they
bag,
don't bushel
whatever.
It, right.
Pounds.
Exactly. That they're
tons.
forced to do stuff that they don't want to do. So they have the same resentment, for the systems of control. And they just tend to interpret it as a problem of individual rights rather than maybe collective ones.
As you grow up, there is parental pressure, that you are something you did that you thought was perfectly fine, and and suddenly you're being criticized, and so it's like there's this thing I think inside us, whether left, right, or center, where like maybe it's the moral sense. It's like that's not right. I didn't deserve that. That entity, whatever it is, that pressure. I need to keep that pressure off me. I guess deeper than this, I've been thinking, this is maybe too much psycho whatever, that this administration, or as you say, prior administrations that were run by a different team, we're in trauma. We're reacting out of a sense of like this feeling of, as you say, the pressure on us by something that is the administrative state called your parents, your grandparents, the teachers, or, that we've just been through this whole indoctrination. And so that feeling that you're talking about, the young people in Idaho or Iowa or wherever that was, I think it's in all of us.
Well, that's part of, not to get conspiratorial, but part of PSYOPs is to, traumatize your population,
Totally.
so they regress and transfer. It's
I know.
It's pretty simple. We had some mean teachers when I was growing up that were good at that. They figured I'd rather have them afraid of me and quiet,
right,
than learn to engender a sense of discovery and learning that keeps them engaged. Engaged voluntarily.
Right. Yeah. So it's I think, like working our way out of that, individually and in groups, like you get together with a group of people, you go like, does that seem crazy to you? Oh yeah, it seems crazy to me. Does it seem crazy? It's like we're starting to be the peaceful tribes that are starting to check in with one another.
Right.
Like this doesn't feel right, right?
Right. Stuff that we say in East Germany under Stasi, you were checked for even saying that. They were like, if you asked the wrong neighbor, is this okay? You'd get a knock on the door. We're not there, certainly not yet. And although threatened, the senators who made the video for the military to let them know not to follow illegal orders, they've been threatened with execution. But,
I know.
Yeah, but that in some ways. Well, I don't want to get political
that's
that sense, but
right.
because I look at it all psychologically and
right.
I understand how Trump thinks. He just had the Saudi guy who executed a journalist.
Right.
Then he gets attacked by journalists, and I think he's thinking, fuck, man.
Yeah, I have no space to,
just execute. It's like these guys. That's the way you run a friggin' country.
I mean, really, just trust me.
Yeah, but I do think he's just highly impressionable. That was why when he first won, I was like, let's all. And when he won, he said he made this website for people to volunteer to apply for positions in the administration. So I filled one out and I applied to be chairman of the Federal Reserve. Because why not? If they were going to take people, because then I would try to flip us from an extractive economy to a circular one and do all that stuff. That seemed like a good command post for an anarcho-syndicalist. Why not? Your currency is over, right?
Currency is love, right?
Exactly. Yeah, there we go.
Mutual aid. That's
exactly. There you
really,
go. Currency loses value over time. Let's see people start spending their money fast.
Totally.
Anyway, they didn't give it to me. But people were so upset. Why would you do that? And I was like, the more of us that are around him, the more influenced by us he would be. And we could then steer it because he just wants, at the time anyway, I thought he just wanted love and attention and affection. And he got it from us,
Aw, little Donnie.
Oh, it's it. Did you see there's a great, they made a movie called The Apprentice.
Oh, my God.
Where it's very sympathetic. They show this sort of, young business guy who just wants to do, getting influenced by Roy Cohn and kind of turning into who he is.
I know. I keep hearkening back to that now because you watch him operating out of, just never admit anything, attack. So you see that operating. And I think that was the brilliance of that movie.
Right. It showed the thing. So then it stops looking like, oh, this guy has a mental problem. No, he has these Roy Cohn rules, and he's just following them in each case. Sometimes, of course, they look crazy because why are you attacking when that's happening? But it's because you're always supposed to attack. You're always supposed to do that. And then it's oh, I get it.
I know.
It's just it's a program, which is why so many of us saw it almost as like a cult, like it's like he's running a sigil.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I've thought a lot about cults too. It's like cult is culture,
Yeah.
Right. It's a set of beliefs that you adhere to, and it gets you on the team, and you break, and it's questionable whether you're going to be sent with a goat into the outer darkness. It's like, yeah, culting is also in us. It's staying close to the centers of power for safety. You see that in, not in bonobos, but, in gorillas. You see that teaming up with the social group is your survival. So you stay closer in to the center. And it's, I don't know. I mean, when does it cross the line? When does it cross the line into a literal cult where you can't get out?
Well, we can't get out.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're in it, huh?
It's just, I think it's
We're back to the simulation.
Yeah. I mean, it's whether or not the cult is benevolent, I suppose.
Oh, I know.
How do they treat those who question those at the center? Is the cult a pyramid or is it a mandala? And I feel like when it's a mandala,
right, or a
fractal, which is
really
distributed,
it's
decentralized, and better.
It's like some central, and so that's what we're trying to work on is that central formula, the equation that keeps generating beauty.
Right. This sort of Fibonacci set.
Exactly.
And you would think, though, if nature and reality is some kind of a simulation, generated by psyche or consciousness in order to manifest, it would be fractal. That's the way it would come up with a couple of nonlinear equations and do feedback loops.
Totally.
So then we are, this is the thing, and this is what cybernetics and Norbert Wiener realized, it's what Buckminster Fuller realized, it's what the karmic folks realized, that if we're in a feedback loop, then every cycle is an opportunity to turn this from one thing into compassion again.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that my mind is, my mind was formed by the thought, back in 1989 at this conference on sustainable development, the first North American conference on sustainable development in Los Angeles called the Globescope Pacific Assembly. There I was listening to all the heads of the environmental organization, blah, blah, blah. And everybody who came up to the microphone said, really what's driving this is the level and pattern of consumption in North America. It's consumerism that's driving this whole destruction of the earth. And then they go like, George Bush Sr. said, he went to the Earth Summit and he said, the American way of life is not up for discussion. It's just not up for discussion. So I was sitting there and I'm thinking,
right,
I got away. I got away because we'd been teaching this program that's in Your Money, Your Life for 10 years, and we'd studied people who'd done it. And it was really a consciousness program. It's consciousness intervening in habitual actions. It's just asking, is the money I'm spending buying me a life I love? And it's just like a technology, it's like a fractal. It's just a technology.
Yeah.
You run behavior through this little
your money
stub,
or your life.
Yeah, this little stub of culture.
But your money or your life is seditious because
totally.
And George Bush Sr., for all of his greatness compared to some of what we see now. At least he was trying to be a nice patrician, or something,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
He believed in, the Downton Abbey approach to life. He's starting with the banks need to make money off a growth-based economy.
Right.
And let's reverse engineer everything else to fit that precondition.
Right.
Of society.
Because the whole bubble collapses. It's like being in, those old air balloons where it's I don't know what the machine was, but it's generating heat and it fills the balloon. And so that's how you get up over the landscape and floating.
Yeah.
And so if you lose the heat generating machine, the whole bubble comes down.
I know. What I thought I could do is appeal to the tech bros with an essay that says, you guys are even smarter than you think. That you can do this. You can win, get AGI, get off the planet, upload your psyche, and do all those things you want to do. You can do that, and you can play it on hard level rather than regular. You can do it without destroying the entire planet for everybody else. You can do it without a growth-based economy, that you could still win. Try to do it without $1 trillion in your savings account.
There's some little glitch in this, and where you tell them that, and they go, "Oh my God, you're right. Oh no, I can do this," and they start doing it, and then ping, something happens in there that sends them back.
Right.
Some shock that sends them back to like, no, tooth and claw. Competition.
Exactly. It's why in the comic book I'm writing now. The tech bros go to South America and they do the Vision Vine and they go, oh my god, and it's on the plane on their G5 on the way back. They're like, it all comes back. They somehow justify that the thing they're already doing actually is the very best thing for the world. Yeah.
So let's just imagine that this is a little seditious 2-person agreement.
Yeah.
You and I right now.
We begin it, but then
we're doing it right now.
And everyone else can play along.
It's like acid in the water. We're back to wavy gravy.
Right, but you don't have to use LSD in the water system. You just use a mimetic structure in the thought space.
It's also humor. I mean, that's what you use a lot, and I have done that well. It's like
people think it's humor.
I know.
I've never meaning it that way.
No, it's just like having a little twist. Well, hey, that's cool, but what if we see it this way?
Right.
That's what a joke is. You think you're going that direction.
That's what a joke is. What if the world didn't have to end in the next 100 years? Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't mean it as a joke.
No.
I mean it as a real possibility.
No. So how do we stay in possibility in the face of what's happening? I mean, I don't think that, Jürgen Rockstrom with, the planetary boundaries. I don't think he's just sitting there trying to freak people out. And out here, it's like, really? Like 7 of the 9 planetary boundaries? It's hard to not be shocked.
Right.
About what's going on. I mean, Trump stuff is like, that's sort of minor theater. I mean, he's doing a lot of damage, but it's buffoonery.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bad TV. But this other stuff, this sort of the living systems, the sort of like the flows of energy through the planet is like, no, that's big, and I'm not sure.
It is big, and and that's why it's funny. I was looking on YouTube, and some people are commenting like, "Why is Rushkoff getting so into magic lately?" I keep talking about magic in the occult. Right. I had a witch on a couple of weeks ago, and I talking about spells and sigils, and looking at retrocausality and ESP, some of that telepathy tapes kind of stuff, and it's because any crack in the seeming permanence or inviolability of this thing, any crack for possibility, it's that little crack in the cosmic egg, but it opens you to that infinite possibility or shared consciousness or this or that. And once you sort of unravel the seemingly inviolable rules of this world, you get, oh, we can do this thing.
Totally.
And that's why I said in the intro that in the thing, it's like it was the healthiest thing. It came maybe out of pessimism, but when I gave up on trying to fix the world, I gave up. And you remember I did that big talk like a year or so ago, how I'm changing from an agent of change to an agent of care.
Right.
I was like, it doesn't matter whether I succeed or not, whether we accomplish. It's how do we do this? Just want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Everyone's Earth, the maker of Kobe dryer sheets. I know you think I'm dryer sheet obsessed. I'm not. It's just that this is their only product right now, so I keep talking about it. But the grander scheme of things is that Kobe dryer sheets, like everything they're going to make, are biodegradable. So what they're doing is replacing awful plastic products like dryer sheets and diapers and even tampons with completely organic and biodegradable ones that disappear, go back into the earth and make new ones. Get it? So we got a sponsor, but I'm sponsoring them too. Okay, love you.
We're back in the 70s, you know. We're back in the 60s and 70s now, and that mentality of
right. I mean, the trick was
all you need is love. How about that one?
Yeah, we tried for that with that all you need is love thing, and then basically a bunch of stockbrokers came in and abused the privilege, and we ended up getting, you know.
Yeah, I know. This is the tribes again. This is the parable of the tribes. Some anti-life, some little anti-life molecule comes into the system and says, okay, I'm going to make a profit off this. You know, they're not watching their bank accounts. I'm going to so it's, I don't mean to be conspiratorial because it's not a conspiracy. It's a glitch in the system.
Glitch makes it sound like a mistake.
Yeah, so
it must be working itself out somehow. I mean,
okay, so correct me on this because I heard a rabbi one time talk about, you know, where human consciousness came from.
I disagree.
Oh, perfect. Okay, fine. So next topic.
But that's just so people understand. That's the Jewish way. Whatever he said.
Right. Yeah. Somebody said, you know, Jews are the ones who think they can argue with God and win. You know.
Yeah.
So
well, we go on.
Yeah. Anyway, I forget his name, but he was talking about, you know, God the creator, and you know, it's like, oh, like let's create the heavens, and then the heavens happen, and let's create the waters, and the waters happen. And after a while, he's like, this is no fun. You know, I'm all by myself out here. So they said, you know, correct me. This is the Kabbalah. That there was like a little piece of God consciousness that God had to make invisible to itself in order to have a playmate, in order to have some part of the cosmos that he could play with, that he could do something, and that part says, whoa. You know what I mean? Or like, whoo, think about that again. You know, it's like, it's the duo. It's the relationship that is the pleasure of existence. You know what I mean? It's like the call and response. That's
right.
So I don't know if that was true about how that's, you know, there's all sorts of stories about,
right.
You know.
But then, right, if you want to live in that universe, then you have to learn to tolerate the unknown. You know, you have to learn to tolerate that. It was so funny. I have a student who's working on a master's thesis about sex robots. You know, and how this urge, this sort of male urge throughout the development of technology to take women and automate their function, whether it was the original calculators, which we replaced with computers, or bank tellers we replaced with ATMs, or now finally women in their most female function. You know,
right.
but the ideal of the sex robot is that not just that she can't say no, but there's no doubt. There's no doubt. You have a sex robot, you're going to get laid, right?
Right.
Like,
exactly. Exactly.
There. Right. But what they don't realize is, and I guess, you know, people who hire dominatrix, maybe they do realize it, is that the doubt is the pleasure, the wonder.
Yeah.
If you can revel in the unknown, in the doubt. Again, if back to your thing, back to your word possibility, if the doubt and unknown is a realm of possibilities you've never considered,
right,
it becomes pleasure. But I think for so many people, they want that certainty. That doubt means.
Yeah. So I'm going to cry now. Is that okay?
Please.
Yeah. So
you can blow your nose.
I don't need that.
Dryer sheets.
Yeah, I like.
Close enough. They're cotton. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, something happened. I did this podcast called What Could Possibly Go Right? And I have had this indomitable spirit like, yeah, right, there's always possibility. The buildings come down and we got a lot of bricks. I mean, I have lived in that. And I think it was something in Trump 1 that crushed me. That there's like, I don't live in that at this moment. And I want it. I want it back. I was like, it's almost like innocence. But that belief that there's always a crack, there's always an opportunity, there's always a little place where you can like get in, just get your little in and shift things.
Part of why I've gotten into magic. And I'm doing a working to Aniel, this is my little ring. I got a couple of crystals, and whether or not they're doing things to the magical reality or not, they're engendering a state of mind and a way of being that is just more open to possibility.
Right. So you live in possibility even in a circumstance that looks utterly impossible, even to your possibility mind.
As a science math kid, to go, what if? I mean, I always did science and math and theater. Right. And theater, any play is what if? What if a king decided to, divide his kingdom among 3 daughters and one of them said, "Fuck you, Dad"? What would happen? They're all what ifs, but they're all like almost like little reality shows, except they're scripted. They're written out. And I feel like part of the tragedy of Trump 1 was here was a magical thinker who was taking Norman Vincent Peale and that whole American, almost theosophic approach to life, the follow the yellow brick road, Frank Baum. I mean, that was spiritual stuff, that original think it, be it, the power of positive thinking, and instrumentalized it for something that was just horrific.
I know.
And it does, and then it kind of makes possibility the enemy. It turns it. My initial reaction to it was to become kind of more Marxist. Conditions on the ground are what matter. Look at the numbers.
Right.
Here's the children suffering. Here's the data, the facts.
Right.
You're against the facts. As a theater person, to be arguing facts, that was weird.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Maybe this is like a clue, because I am like. It's like the facts of the unraveling of the natural systems. I mean, not the facts of the politics, because that's like every administration.
The facts of the watersheds.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm in a different heart space. I feel like I've got an older heart, a heart that knows that our people are going to live through something, are going to live through something tough, and there's another capacity, the possibility thinker that's sort of like dancing around Enneagram 7, like, hey, let's just lighten this up. I'm focused now on community cohesion, like really being a space in which the disparate elements are naturally reconciled out of who I am. Oh, yeah, it makes sense for me to be friends with these 16 people who don't match. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had like a birthday party, and for my 80th birthday, and I had about 50 or 60 people come, and they looked around the room and they realized they didn't know most of the people. They were all like dear to me, but that was like the number of different networks that I'm in, and it's like almost instinctual that I am creating these bonds, these sort of yes and to different parts of the community. I'm trying to, like, it's my heart is in a different place. It's in this sort of cohesion place, not sameness, but if you have affection for somebody, if you've hung out, if you partied, I had my, some of my favorite musicians and we danced for an hour. If you danced with people, if you brought food to a potluck, and you've tasted different dishes, it's very small now. It's not like I'm trying to act on like the big system. Like my community back when I was out on the road and doing big stuff was like all over the world, like in the pandemic, my community was all these cool people I got to interview. I lived way out there. And the people of my block were sort of irrelevant as long as we put out our garbage and kept, you know what I mean? And that's not nice to say. They weren't irrelevant. They were just neighbors. Didn't just mean they bought the house.
Yeah.
And now it's like I look around my neighborhood and I thought, like power goes down. These are my people. These are my people. This is Team Human.
Yeah.
This village of 1,000 people is Team Human. This is my training. This is my training, Douglas.
I wish it didn't take catastrophe for people to open to that.
I know. But it's true. I mean, we're doing major emergency preparedness stuff on the island. Neighborhoods are organizing, around earthquakes. And, like the house goes down and you have like your little vests on and your little hard hats and, crowbar and,
Wow.
and, like we're overdue for the big one. But it's the threat that's finally getting people to be willing to disrupt the individual patterns. Like, okay, so here's something. Like this morning, this is really weird, but I'm going to embarrass myself.
Please.
Anyway, my clothes are very stretchy. I wear a lot of stretchy clothes. And I thought, would you give up spandex for world peace? Would you give up your car for world peace? Just sort of like I just started going down. You look confused. But
I was just, why wouldn't I give up all those things?
Exactly. But would you really?
Oh, yeah.
Getting dressed in the morning, you just get, your apartment.
I can't have clothes now. I thought it was just spandex. Now it's clothes? If it's warm, I'll do it. Sure.
That's what I mean. It's just, it's testing your values against your behaviors, which is what your money, your life was. Anything I've ever done has been values-based, and then, it's the gap between what we know to be true, the values, what we espouse, and our behavior that we don't, as long as there's not a big threat, we really don't want to disrupt the patterns of life. You do. I do somewhat. But they out there, just the sort of repetitive patterns that you put in protocols, daily protocols of your life, your coffee, like how much of my life? I mean, no, I'm not going to ask it that way. But, there's all these protocols. Would I be willing to disrupt the protocols?
Right.
And another example is it occurred to me when I bought my house, by sheer luck, I bought a house. I thought, this is too big for me because I've always lived in vans, And so I thought, well, there's the family room downstairs. Somebody could live there. Mm-hmm. And then I converted the garage and somebody lives there. Then there's my guest room, right by my bedroom. And it's like, yeah, sure. Space is empty. Come on in. I've had some very difficult people to get out of my house. But it's this values thing. I have these values, these like Team Human values. And it's like, I got space. Yeah,
right.
Come on in. And I've been trying to talk to other people, a lot of other people about, hey, you have extra space? People people need a space to live, not, homeless people, just, the waiter, the tech at the hospital. Yeah. And it's so far from norm. Even people with large houses, they can't imagine. Like just partitioning off, like you can put a lock on the door.
People with extra houses can't imagine.
Totally.
Right?
That's the thing. It's not about spandex,
or even
really.
Banks with houses in foreclosure, they let the whole neighborhood rot rather than let homeless people have homes because, well, that would devalue the houses or something.
I don't know. It's just – so this is a question of imagination. It's
right.
Moral imagination. It's really moral imagination. It's like, are we, brothers and sisters, I mean, are we Christians, the least of these, if you do it to the least of these, you've done it to me.
Right.
We can't imagine it.
Do you think that being able to imagine it yields? What's the best case scenario as far as you're concerned at this point? Is it that with imagination we somehow avert?
No. It's not instrumental. No, it's not a bit. This is like what you said. I'm not saving.
We're trying to make the crash of this pyramid as gentle as possible,
and opportunities for, even compassion is maybe too big a word. Sort of just a little bit extra generosity of spirit. Now I'm going to cry again. It's just like, I feel like a 7-year-old out in the world. I really do. I feel like, what's his name in Los Angeles? Why can't we all get along?
Rodney King, yeah.
It's just like, can't we all get along? Such that we. And I'm not singling myself out for virtue,
Right.
I'm as selfish as the next person, but it's like we started this conversation. It's like this feeling that there's got to be a way that this all fits together such that we're generating something that's like 0.001% more generous than selfish. Honestly, that's governed my whole life. It really has. My creativity, it's devoted to that. Yeah,
it's funny. I guess I'm criticized as either too naive or too cynical.
Exactly.
And I feel like I'm saying the same things.
Before Your Money, Your Life was published, and I was like, determined, this is going to be a bestseller, not because of my ego needs it, but because the world needs this. We're going to change the world.
Right.
And so I would call, from Seattle, I'd call the publicist every morning. I wanted to get him first thing in the morning, so I'm up at 6 o'clock and I'm calling the publicist. How are we doing today, And he said to me something like, I have never known anybody as optimistic about human possibility and as jaundiced about human reality.
Right.
It's like that.
But that's the exercise. Is to look the tragedy straight on and see it and admit, I see it, I get it, I really get it, and there's still some hope for what we can do about this.
Okay. Pinky promise. I'll do it, you do it.
Yeah. See this box? In it are Kobe dryer sheets, which are these cotton dryer sheets that I use myself. I use the unscented because I'm very sensitive. And the good thing about them is that they're part of a much larger effort and campaign to save the fucking planet from us by making not just biodegradable, but actually regenerative products instead of single-use awful things. So check these out. They've checked us out and support this whole thing. So we at least deserve to give them a little love. If you go to their website and put in the code RUSH10, you get 10% off these puppies. So try that. See? You see, I never did anything for you. 10% off a whole box of dryer sheets. Okay, take care. Basically, we're saying, yes, the world is ending tragically and with terrible pain and tragedy and misfortune and agony. Yet, there is a way to go through this transition that is less horrific for everyone than otherwise.
And actually is sort of like I don't know what the scientific word is, but it's sort of like a forge or an alchemical. That's my hope, is that the alchemical pressure of the elements, the disparate elements in the crucible together, it's alchemy.
Maybe it's magic. And that's where I went back to magic, which is, why I'm exploring all the different kinds to see, well, where does that happen? I wanted, when I was a kid, I wanted to, I read about the placebo effect, right?
Right.
I wanted to launch a brand of supplements called the placebo effect and have placebo effect headache, placebo effect, stomach ache, and just have on the back the placebo effect is scientifically proven to work.
But you can't tell people it's a placebo.
I think you can. But that would be the real right? That
the real magic is that you give me this pill and I know it's a placebo, but
it still works. Right.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if you know this part of my life, but I lived with a woman who was the first documented case of reversal of Lou Gehrig's disease. And so we actually ended up, she could tell her story, but that was like, oh, okay, so she must have some magical healing power,
right.
and blah, blah, blah. She wanted to document the mind-body connection because for her, it was a change in consciousness. And she wasn't trying to live. She was trying to kind of unpack her psychology to arrive at a place of love before she died. She's quite an amazing human being. And then she survived. And it was like, well, wait a second, now what do I do? Because I had the whole thing planned to be over. And so we did this research project of people with Lou Gehrig's disease and their primary caregivers, longitudinal study over the course of 3 years. To test the mind-body connection in that illness, which has guaranteed by the medical profession no mind-body connection. And one of the premises was she had been a nurse, and she said, you learn in nursing, there's a disease is the pathogen and a suitable host. So it's like, what makes a suitable host for a pathogen? Like when I had cancer, I had a 45% chance of survival. But if I did the chemo, I'd have a 55%. And I thought, okay, I'll just be in the 45%.
Right.
It's not like every human being has that. It's just like 45% of the people somehow survive this. And then there's this influence called chemotherapy that is interpreted as the solution. But what is it? And I survived stage 3 colon cancer. So, and I had surgery and I had a little bit of chemo and quit. And, I went and lived by myself for a year, and examined my entire psyche. I did all the various things. It's that question of what makes a suitable host for a pathogen? And I think we should just work on that a little bit. I think there might be a clue here of how are we able to not be a suitable host for the pathogen of the current political discourse, if you will. And so I think you've probably lived this way. I probably lived this way. I am not a suitable host for despair.
Right.
I feel despair. It's like I feel it lurking, and I feel it deeply sometimes. But there's something in me, and I'm not unique in everyone, that is the immune system.
Right.
The immune system.
And it's the same language that the other side is using to make certain memes permissible. So the very same day, government announced, that for the Coast Guard is now as far as the Coast Guard's concerned, the swastika is no longer a hate symbol. I know. But it's the same thing. So it's saying, oh, so this now we want to make permissible this viral construct. So it's an interesting that both sides seem to understand the same
symbology.
Principle.
Yeah, magic. Oh, magic.
I'm sorry to say it, but
yes.
That's all we need.
It's the magic of naming something, your parent names you, it's like
right.
That is starts to imprint your destiny on you for whatever comes through their parents' imagination. So it's like the immune system not taking on the pathogen of thought forms that allow us to kill one another or at least be project on one another.
Right. And the way to make that the way to change the vulnerability of the host to these things is not through, and sadly, because I'm an intellectual, but it's not through the training and explanation of various ideologies.
No.
It's through the sort of more systemic emotional resilience. It's through the kinds of community and friendship and love and touch and breathing and compassion.
Right. And, and this is me working my way back around in public right now to that feeling I had that somehow that I could hold something in my heart and I could live it and I could expand it. And, not just me, you, Wavy Gravy, Timothy Leary, that all of us had that, like, wow, that feeling. And so maybe this is sort of a more mature and modulated wow. It's like, it matters. Not just that I meditate in the morning and I calm my nervous system, but isn't it that thing? My life matters? Isn't that? It's so simple. And mattering even, mattering. What is mattering? It's my life matters. It makes matter. It shapes matter. What does it mean to matter? And our job is to matter. That's what our job is. It's like that's the whole thing.
But I would love to matter. I would love to matter. But
you matter to me.
Oh, well, thank you. And you matter to me. That's true. I mean, maybe we have to let go of that when in the final moment, everything has to stop mattering. But
in the beyond, who knows when we dissolve as human, but maybe we'll matter to one another. Maybe we'll just be like one little symbol of Douglas, and I go like,
Well, it's weird that I've been encountering some of my friends who died, lately in certain states of mind, and I keep really wondering about all the pain and suffering that's going on, the grief, the trauma, and they're all just like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But the ones I'm seeing, the people I've been seeing lately are Paul Krasner, Robert Anton Wilson, Genesis Peorage, my chiropractor Mark Filippi, and they're all basically in one way or another Alfred E. Newman kind of people. What me worry? The sort of this like. Because
I'm dead, I know something.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm basically going into the frame of mind of you people. Just because I wrote 20 books doesn't mean I have any answers. You're mistaking me for someone who thinks they know what's going on here.
Right.
I don't, and so I'm looking to them, and they're going, "No, we don't know what's going on here either, Doug. But just." That's okay. Nobody does. That this is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Right.
And I can't accept ridiculous.
It's like the mind is a pattern-making machine almost. And I used when I was doing my podcast, I called it, called people I was interviewing cultural scouts.
All right.
And I had that feeling of like there's people I know who can squint on the horizon, and they can
signals from the future.
Exactly. And so I was trying to divine through my guests the patterns that we're in and where the where the gaps are, where the places are that we can intervene. I mean, so I noticed that my mind still wants to make a pattern out of the incoherence that we're in. And my mind is getting frustrated by that.
Right.
My mind is a pattern-making machine. That's how the mind works. Okay, this thing looks like that, and that, so I'll do this.
And that's what people have paid me for most of my career. You write a book, write an article that does some amount of pattern recognition for people.
Exactly. It's almost like we're in this time of morphing where one story's ending and another is beginning. But we're in this time of sort of necessary incoherence. So it's my mind is frustrated. I can't see a pattern and therefore do something. So just, as you say, just be fine with it, you know.
But we got the choice then of returning to what you're calling the 7-year-old, which is, I'm in kindergarten. I know there's going to be 12 other grades after this. I have no idea what's in those books in the library. I can't even read, right? But I'm here in school. Let's be nice. There's butter cookies coming at 1. You know, those ones they put on your finger? I used to get those, that little with a hole in the middle. And, you know, but I still...
Playful out, you know?
Yeah.
That's the other thing about my life is that I expect myself to make something of myself because I was smart and I da-da-da-da. And I observe in my life that I just followed my weird, you know. I just followed my curiosity and I keep doing it and I don't stay stable in something. But I still have the part of me that thinks, oh, you should have done something else with your life. But it's this sort of curiosity machine as well as the pattern making machine. It's just like, what's that about? What's that about?
Right.
That, I think, is the salvation. Is that breaks the code.
Right.
Curiosity. Like, what else is true?
Right. And being open to, which again, it seems naive or scary for people, but being open to awe.
Yes.
It's in that state of awe
Holy
where
moly.
you can be inspired or conspire or
nature. I mean, if you are in nature in a non-instrumental way, like I'm going to take a walk in the woods and sort out my marriage, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But if you start to like go like, what's happening here? You know, what's beneath the soil? What are these, you know, and you just feel the pumping of life and everything in life giving back to life 100%. It's, you know, sort of the perfect combination of self-protection and generosity. You know, just by being me, it helps you be you.
Yep. And it is that sense of connection. And it almost doesn't have to be to other people and living things. I was in Point Reyes for the launch of this new, what's they're calling it? It's like it's like PRRIC, like prick, which is a great anagram. It's like the Point Reyes. It's like an institute for weird stuff. You know, they're trying to make like an Esalen for weird people. You know, it's where Philip K. Dick lived and all that. So it's a strange place. And, you know, I do this kind of dinner talk, whatever, and a guy comes up to me and goes, "You're from New York, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Just walk over to where that wall is and look up." I'm like, "What?" All right. So I walk out to where this wall is and look up, and I saw the sky at night in Point Reyes. And like in New York, you get like 2 or 3 stars, right?
I know.
And I looked up and you could see all, and I was like, this is like, I hadn't seen stars like this since I was a kid.
I know.
You know, and there's this smushy white smear across it, the Milky Way.
The Milky Way. You hadn't seen the Milky Way in forever.
Forever. And as you look for more than a minute, and you'll see a couple of shooting stars go by.
Know.
I mean, there's that many of them all the time. And I was just like, oh, right. We're in a fucking universe.
I guess when I lived in Seattle, I had this longing for the stars. And I was invited to speak at a retreat center up in Canada. And I thought, okay, good. I'm going to go see the stars. And I'm walking back to my cabin at night, and I noticed that they'd strung lights throughout the forest. You know, there was a light here and a light there. I thought, that's amazing. Up in the trees, they've strung all these lights. And I realized, those are stars. I couldn't even recognize stars, you know?
I know. Talk about alienation from the essential human condition, or how many, you know.
Brian Swim of, the Universe is a Green Dragon cosmologist, he in one of his books, he gives this exercise to lie on the ground and instead of looking up at the stars, imagine you're looking down at the stars And it's like, oh my God, I'm going to fall. All that's holding you to the earth is magnetism. And that's the truth.
Right.
And you get this feeling of vulnerability and awe both at once. Like, I'm just on this thin little living mantle of the earth. And I'm just a thin little living person. And I'm looking down on the stars.
You know how long it took life to figure out it could detach from the planet and survive? I mean, we were all plants or rooted or on stuff. It was like something went, I'm going to just see if we can move.
Curiosity. Curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar at the end of the universe.
But that act of faith to like step off and,
Yeah, bye, Ma. I don't know what it is, but I have legs.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to like try it out, you know. I'll come back. I'll tell you about it, But so that's one of the qualities, the core qualities of life. For life to exist, there has to be, I think, a bit, like an nth more curiosity than there is self-protection.
Right. But there also has to be at least for us, a willingness to metabolize other life forms.
I mean, like eat them.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of it. When you look about life giving itself to life in the sake of life 100%, that's eating one another is about how it happens. Dying and going to the earth and letting your cells, like I've bought a green burial plot up the hill in the cemetery, and I've joked about, I'm just going to rot and I'm going to come down as nourishment for my garden.
Yeah, but when we are sitting around like, cave people and a saber-toothed tiger jumps on one and eats one, the other ones think, I don't want that happening to me.
I know.
It doesn't look pleasant.
No, I think it's in all animals. I mean, when you see a lioness going after a herd of antelope, in a way, the herd sacrifices whoever is weaker or smaller. They just keep running.
Right, but elephants, they turn around and like stomp you or something. Or
do they?
Or rhinos or something they do. The tribe of water buffaloes or whatever they are, they
so different self-protective mechanisms.
It depends, yeah.
No, it's self-protection is built into the system. What I'm saying is that there's just an nth more curiosity than there is self-protection.
Right.
Otherwise, you wouldn't find the next watering hole when you'd finish this one. You go like, oh, well.
Right. But
water,
there's risk.
Gone.
There's risk between them.
Totally.
Some vulture thing's going to grab at you.
I know.
And that's stressful.
It's terrible.
But it is. It is. You're walking around Bambi's or mom got shot by a thing. I mean, that's a traumatized little deer,
Yeah.
I mean, they shake it off as best they can, but I mean, it is not a
It's not a do not go gentle into that dark night. It's not a gentle place. No, but it's a fascinating place.
Right. I've always seen it as the if humans do recognize the pain and suffering, then what our job is here is to try to make nature a gentler place. How do we?
No, try to make us a gentler place.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, to start, yeah.
I mean, everything in life goes back to life 100%. Your body, this is like when I was with the Achuar in Ecuador, they had just this belief, in the jungle. They had a belief, like, I don't know if they called it a soul, but you just cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this element called, and I'm going to mispronounce it, of course, but what I got it as is the Uruntun. And the Uruntun is life itself. And so individual lives cycle through this. He said, I'm going to come back as a deer and then maybe a butterfly and then a human. And so it's like I'm part of this jungle ecosystem. And I will die and I'll become part of something else, which will die and become part of something else. And this one man told me that he was told by some psychic, this is all just translation. I mean, it was Spanish, because I speak Spanish, but, that he was told that he was going to, go into the army. So he went in the army. He's like, so he was told he was going to die young, and he wasn't problematic. He said, well, I'll be a deer or a butterfly.
Yeah.
So it is the identification with the jungle itself, with the beating life of the jungle, and the sense also, that there is an afterlife, which is cycling through the living world, that makes that tolerable.
Right.
And
but what if I identify with the beating heart of the city and the internal cultural intellectual life
I know.
of
What if?
civilization?
Let's just spin that one out. How does that work if you identify?
Then I
at that level?
manifest in, it's like Samuel Beckett manifests through me, and I'll manifest through some.
And through your students. I mean, look at you. You're a professor.
It's a different kind of life, but it's still,
Totally.
I think it's life. I don't think it's just abstraction.
No, it's like, and this is parents with kids, It's like there's an investment in that small being staying alive. So that's something, the persistence of the race, the forest, whatever, that you're part of that cycle of persistence of whatever it is, it came from the past and it's going to the future. I was with a group of Americans there with the Achuar, and I was translating because I was the only one who spoke Spanish, and the chief guy of the Achuar spoke Spanish. And the Americans are all like, what is Mayaruntun? Am I a leopard? It's like, no, there's no such thing as Mayaruntun. They couldn't imagine being part of a system where they are unique but not differentiated. You know what I mean? It's like, It was so interesting. And I had the front row seat of being able to hear this man trying to explain it and then hear these people asking questions that I was trying to translate. And it's like trying to translate massively different cultural translation.
I know. I always think of people, they always talk about my past life was this and my past life was that. It's not your past life. It's a past life that you can touch, that you can access.
Right. So, why don't you talk a little bit more right now about your idea that your memories are not held in some network in the brain, but where are your memories?
Right. We're increasingly, even scientifically, figuring that out, that your memories are not etched somewhere in the brain, but they're accessed. That these are. It's a different understanding of, physics or quantum or whatever was going on here. But that, those aren't your memories, your experiences. They're moments in time, space that you are accessing.
That is totally trippy.
It is, but it's also kind of encouraging in a way. It makes me more and less responsible for everything, in that sort of view, like everything's already happened, that and what we're doing is sort of wandering through this.
Right, we're wandering through something, yeah, for sure.
And then, hopefully, there's ways of changing its nature. You change the lighting on it. You change the
right. You're tinkering. You're not changing. You're just tinkering.
Or shifting our experience of it,
Right.
There's a moment, and I've talked about it on the show before. There's a moment in and I saw it in the Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom when I was a kid, where the cheetah jumps on the gazelle after the gazelle's been running and running, and the gazelle fights for a while, and then, while it's alive, it stops.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it in its eyes. The gazelle goes, okay, I'm now cheetah. Right?
Right. I don't know whether it thinks that, but there is that's another one about sort of built-in surrender, and you have to have that
Right.
because we're mortal.
Right.
And I think that this appears in people too. You know, they can be fighting for their lives, and then toward the end, there's a surrender. Hopefully, there's just okay, I'm getting on the little boat and crossing the
Right.
river.
Or even in the Viking thing,
Right.
that they get to go to
Valhalla.
Valhalla by fighting. So that's their nature. I'm a warrior. I'm going to kill. I'll get killed. And then I'm going to go to Valhalla, which is this place where I wake up every morning and fight to the death. And that's heaven, right? So to get yourself into that frame of mind is an acceptance of the churn of this thing.
Right. It's the churn. And in the churn, you try to matter as best you can.
Right.
And sometimes mattering is conforming to the rules that you were taught, conforming to the patterns of success, the world you're in. And sometimes mattering isn't doing that. Mattering is going there's another way to do this.
Yeah, and for me right now, mattering is being as hospitable as I can to everybody, just trying to be nice. Just being nice is it's hard enough. It's hard enough, maybe because I'm mean deep down. But, it's just be nice and model being nice and loving other people. And it's a start, for even if it's just a kindergarten and I show up and the best I can do is every day I'm going to try to be as nice to all the other kids as I can. Enough,
Does that really satisfy the entirety of your mind, body?
Yeah, because it's a challenge. How do you be nice to fucking assholes? How do you be nice in situations that are irresolvable? How do you be nice when you want to have some stuff too? I mean, it's a big enough challenge for that humanity itself.
Is there another word for nice?
Compassionate? That's what Buddha called it.
Mm-hmm. Nice evokes well-behaved.
Well, then I get it. I see why it would evoke that. No, I mean to be kind to.
Yeah, kindness is sort of universal. That's what one point I read in a book that the Dalai Lama says that his religion is kindness.
Sounds good.
That was that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. He's like, that's the thing. That'll do. It's like when things are this disorienting, when things went so off kilter, to have a good, simple thing to come back to. Oh, kindness. What's the kind way through this dilemma? What would a kind person do? It's kind of nice.
Right.
You don't have to get all into what would Jesus do, because it's what did Jesus want? Oh, you this or you do that? This kind.
Right.
Kind. It's and I'm sure there's a refinement of kind, but as a touchstone.
Totally.
It kind of works.
Yeah. What did Brother David Steindl-Rast say? It's gratitude is prayer and thanksgiving, something like that. It was just awe and gratitude, awe and gratitude, awe and gratitude.
Right. Just those are such great, but each one is such a great state to be in. And it's hard to be in awe and gratitude.
This is kindness, and then we're breaking it down to two little elements of awe and gratitude.
I know, and they cycle into each other.
One of the things I want to get back is
I know,
sense of
but
awe.
I'll tell you, I do too. But for some reason, a state of awe feels more vulnerable.
Yes.
Because while you're looking at the Milky Way, someone's going to whop you in the back of the head, know?
Well, maybe that's the harder task then. To the world is awful.
Yeah.
The world is awful. Because gratitude is something you can I do my gratitudes every night. It's something that you can wrap your mind around, that the little you can I'm grateful for this, this, and this, and this, and this. But awe is I am a minuscule part of something that's vast.
Right.
That's pretty good. That's I think I'm going to Because kindness is like a human interaction. That's sort of
Right.
like the rules for, relational
road, yeah.
rules. God and that little part of God that God doesn't know about, so God can have fun.
Right.
So kindness is that. But awe is like that's lying on the earth and imagining you're looking down at the stars.
Right.
That's ego erasing.
Right. It requires some degrees of latitude to manifest, right?
Just a little.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. If your child is dying, if they're bombing your house, it's like
right.
it's hard to find that space to do some awe.
Totally.
The sound of those missiles, on the other hand,
Right.
are reverberating in such a way that makes me realize, yeah, it's a tougher one.
That's
But
why God
that's
is awful.
Awful. Yeah, there's the awful, the shock and awful. But I hear you. And luckily, I mean, I'm living a life right now where
Right.
I do have access to some of that, and many of our listeners do, and choosing to do so is not a denial
No.
of the pain and suffering of others who can't. It's actually one of the ways to touch them too.
But I think awe, a religious sense,
Right.
you
move into a non-local way. You
Right.
can be healing to more than oneself. But then it goes back to the kind. It does change the way you interact with the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And those changes really do have system-wide effects. They do. Even if you just think about it, I've had fun with someone, so we've used less oil, so we needed fewer cars, so we needed to enslave fewer people. And then it does
You can be
manifest.
in awe of whatever that is that allows people to take advantage of other people, that allows people to objectify. Like, what is that? You can be like, what is that in us? Is that like there's the 1.11, there's like 0.1% of kindness, and then there's that other thing.
Yeah.
Which, this is all, little bits and scraps that I've pulled, together. But there's a story, perhaps apocryphal, about a dad who was trying to teach a son about life as an indigenous person. And he said, you have two wolves in you. And, it's like, which one are you going to feed? In our terminology, the kind one or the sort of predatory one. And when I was doing sweat lodges with a Lakota Inipi man for a year, he said, you don't want to get rid of that bad part of you, the bad part. You just want to have 51% and 49% because that is like energy. That is like creativity, energy. That's like you don't want to like pacify. You just want to have a little bit, 1%, 2% more of the one who is, prayerful, devoted to the higher thing. And that felt so great because I've been trying to be good,
Yeah.
And I've been trying to like, no, down. No,
Right.
We don't want to be jealous. We don't want to be mean. We don't want to be any of those things. No, I'm just going to live in the third eye or the fifth eye or whatever it is, But no, I think that's powerful. That's actually allowed me to be creative, intrusive.
Right. No, and it's the part that allows us to manifest in the ways we have.
Totally. It's life energy. It's
gets
energy.
you on stage, gets you writing the books, what makes you sexy. It's what really
Exactly.
It's there. I mean, that's what whenever you go to a rock concert, that's what you're looking at. You know? And some of them, their bad boys are too bad and they die of heroin overdoses, right?
Right.
Because they get that 51% off there. But it's that.
Yeah, exactly. It's excitement.
Yeah.
But you want it to be exciting, but you want the good guys to win in the end.
Right.
You know.
And that's where and And maybe that's a good way to describe where we're at. It's an exciting moment in the story, and we're still hoping for the good guys
to win in
the end. Well, I love you lots.
I love you too.
I love having these talks. This is what we do. Just see, this is what we do. Like, I'll call her when I'm driving back from Queens College in the car and just go, okay, let's talk. And it's like this. So welcome to our world. What do I want to tell you? You're been on Team Human. This show is supported by Kobe, the dryer sheet people, but it's mostly supported by y'all. You can go to teamhuman.fm and click on support, become a contributing member of the team, and get onto our Discord and get invited to free live events that I'm hopefully going to start doing again in this coming year. And an ad-free version of the show and all this love and fulfillment of participation. Team Human's produced by Joshua Chaplin, edited by Luke Robert Mason, and it's shot right here at beautiful MCM Studios. We love you. I'm Douglas Rushkoff, and you've been on Team Human, our last best hope for peeps. Team Human is made possible by Everyone's Earth, the maker of Kobe dryer sheets and a growing line of sustainably sourced and manufactured products that are also completely 100% biodegradable. Yes, your wash cycle can now also be a part of the cycle of life. Moreover, in addition to supporting a company that's actually trying to fix the Procter & Gamble nightmare in which we've become enmeshed, you'll be supporting this show. And as a Team Human insider, you can also get a 10% discount on Everyone's Earth by using the discount code RUSH10. How's that?